Look at me. I'm live. Ta-da. Here I am for your viewing pleasure. I just got a message. Oh. Okay. I just got a message from my friend Howard who says that there's going to be a rally in New York City for people who are upset about what happened to Rent Boy. It literally just happened just now while I'm sitting here just about to start. Let me see what it actually says. Howard says, tell friends in New York City outraged by the Rent Boy bus. There's a march and rally Thursday in New York City, and there's a Facebook event about it. All right, so there you go. So if you're upset, go march, bitches. Also, there'll probably be a lot of hotties there. I'm going to assume plenty of prostitutes. So they'll probably be vulnerable and fragile too. So get it on if you want to. Okay, well, it's lovely that you're joining me here for Monday Mail Hag. This is where I bitch about things, and it's Monday, so I'm extra bitchy. And who isn't on a Monday? Also, I'm wearing a hat. Not because I don't have hair, because I do have hair, but I don't know, felt like a hat. What can I say? I think it frames my face lovely. Like a bonnet. Well, anyway, I was just on Periscope a couple of minutes ago, and if you are not like a Periscope person, it's a bit like this, but I'm like that way instead of like this kind of aspect ratio. And then people's comments can scroll across the screen and everything. And this is interactive because while it's live, you can still post your questions. You can click on the interactive buttons here and ask your questions through the Google Plus portion of it. Somebody already asked a question. I can see it right there, but you can click the button here, or there's a button on the screen here, whatever. You know what? Figure it out, bitches. But anyway, it's a little more interactive, the Periscope business. So I got into a little bit of a hot discussion about people leaving shopping carts behind. It's one of my big pet peeves. I want you to know my mother is the nicest person in the world. She does not have an enemy. People come up to me all the time and tell me that she's just the loveliest person they've ever met. But if you want to know where I got my righteous indignation from, it's her. Yeah. So if I'm morally indignant, if I am outraged and righteous about something, yeah, that's her. It's all her, 100% her. But she's a nicer, sweeter person, so it comes off much better when she gets on a soapbox about something that she believes in. When I do it, it comes off as real bitchy, hence the Monday Mail Hag. Also, you can hear me in podcast form. Go to derekandromaine.com, the website for our show. And I've done a bunch of podcasts already, so you'll be able to listen to me ranting about things. And I have other podcasts that are coming up. Once a week, I will do a solo podcast, and then Romaine and I are doing a podcast together. So a little something to enjoy along the way. Romaine and I will try to do like an hour-ish. I think our first one was 53 minutes. We didn't time it or anything. We just, we each came with like 5 topics, and then we went through the thing. And when we ran out of things to say, we wrapped it up. So even though it's not 3-4 hours like we used to do, you're getting a very tight hour. So I'll just say that. It will fly by. And when I do mine, I usually do like 20 minutes. This will be like 20 to 30 minutes because it's just me talking, and I'm a narcissist. I really care about what I'm saying, but I can't just do this forever. I'll seem like a crazy person. As it is already, I sit here and I'm like asking questions and there's nobody else here. I feel like Norman Bates talking to his mother. Comfortable, mother? Okay, so I have some topics of things that I want to talk about today. Plus, people have already posted some of their questions and comments. So I'll zip through some of their questions and comments that people have posted. And then I will do some of my topics, and then I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to close my iPad. Whee! This is an iPad 0.5. Oh my God, I've had it forever. And the screen is cracked. I still haven't fixed it. My life is a mess. All right, let's go to our first question. This one is from Rick. Rick says, so Derek, how is this extended vacation working out for you so far? Well, Rick, it's been a little weird. Romaine and I talked about it a bit in the podcast, in that I think that a lot of why old people seem like they have dementia is because if you're not working every day, you don't know what day of the week it is. And you can get real confused and distracted quickly. And then it's like, oh, that poor old man. Yeah. So I never know what day of the week it is. And that's unnerving. And it is unsettling not having a job, because I'm the kind of person that likes to know things. If you listen to the radio show and everything, you know that I absorb information, and I'm something of a know-it-all, or as my mother liked to call it, a wealth of useless information. But because I'm a wealth of useless information, I like to be the kind of person who knows things definitively. So when I'm in a place like unemployment where I don't know what's happening, it's unsettling for me. So it's hard for me to enjoy it, but it's fine. I mostly work on trying to find a new job and get ready for this cruise we have coming up in November, which I'm very excited about. So, and then we have another cruise coming up next year to Alaska. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then I also, there's a certain amount of give and take that goes on with Romaine, because I have been in this kind of a situation before in my life. Before I went to work at AOL, I wrote about this in my first book, which is available now on Amazon, or get it for the Kindle. It's cheaper. So I worked at this movie studio, and then I lost that job, and I needed another job, and then I temped for a while, and then that money ran out, and then I was in a hot panic. I might not have actually told this story in that book, but anyway, I'm telling you now. And but being in that hot panic led to my job at Planet Out and AOL, and even though I had a couple of dicey weeks there in 1995, the rest of the decade was huge. Explosive for me, and it turned out great. But anyway, Romaine has not had to dwell in this kind of situation before. She's out of practice on it, and so I have to poke her a little. Poke. Also, one thing I will say about Romaine, which is not me telling a tale out of school about her, but Romaine is the kind of person that can become very focused on something, and when she's very focused on it, she can accomplish amazing things, but she gets tunnel vision around it, like, and she can only do that thing. And so in the last couple of weeks, with her wife starting this gym, Romaine has thrown herself whole hog into this gym prep thing and everything. And so it was a little bit frustrating, because I felt like she's cheating on me with her mistress, but really, it's her wife, that's her business. So there she was. But anyway, that's all done and everything. Romaine is focused, and here we are. But she's the kind of person that needs something to focus on. And so when the gym came along, it just was like, thump, perfect for her to focus her energy into. So there you go. Julie's question. Julie says, what is your opinion of Wes Craven, if you have one? Well, actually, I do have an opinion about Wes Craven. I think that he was really talented. He was the horror director who died yesterday, day before. I mean, I know it came out yesterday, but he died at the age of 76. He had brain cancer, which is a terrible way to go. But I never met him personally. I didn't know him personally, but I heard from people that he was just a really lovely person, and he was really talented. A lot of people who do genre work, like horror movies or sci-fi or, whatever you want, things that don't win Oscars, let's say, they don't always get the credit that's due them. And I think that Wes Craven is actually somebody that cut through some of that clutter. He was somebody who was very well respected in the filmmaking realm, not just as a horror filmmaker, but just in general as a respectable filmmaker, and somebody with real vision. And so it's very sad when somebody like that dies, especially when, you think about the Nightmare on Elm Street movies or Scream, and what an impact Wes Craven as a director had on generations of young people, you know, Gen Xers and Gen Y, in terms of, you know, staples of teen horror. And so that's very sad. But you know, I feel bad for his family. But look, he had a good life. This is how you should measure things. Everybody's checking out of this Roach Motel, whether you like it or not. It really all depends on what you do during your stay. And so Wes Craven was a personally successful person. He was a professionally successful person. No shame in the game. Would have been great if he was still here, but he made productive use of his time, and good for him. Keith says, hi again from Denver. Hi, Keith. It's me, Derek, joining you from my rap room. I will not be rapping. Gary has a question, and you can post your questions too. Remember, post question or whatever it is here. I don't know. Okay, Gary says, is it difficult over the phone doing a podcast with Romaine as opposed to being in the same room? That's a good question, Gary. The biggest issue that we had actually with the first podcast that we did, which is available now at derekandromaine.com, click on the listen button. We had some audio quality issues because Romaine's on the road. She, you know, she didn't have her equipment with her that she wanted to record with. And I mean, I was joining over a not great connection. So the sound quality is not where we're going to be. But the good news is it's free and there aren't even any ads in it. It's just fucking free. So let it go on the quality, everybody. But anyway, no, it's not hard to do it over the phone because we already were working somewhat remotely when we did the radio show. If Romaine had to work from home or there was a blizzard and one or both of us was at home. And it's better when we're all in the room together. But if Romaine and I, after 12 years of talking to each other, can't carry on a conversation outside of the same room, then we should probably look for different jobs. But I think that we do fine, actually. Chemistry-wise, I think Romaine and I have very strong chemistry, and that can come through over a phone line. But like when we would interview people for the first time, we always wanted them in studio the first time. Once you've had somebody with you a bunch of times, then you can do it over the phone, and it's fine. But it's very hard to build a rapport with people over the phone that you don't know. Ask anybody who sells shit over the phone. They'll tell you. But if you've met somebody in person, then when you talk to them on the phone, it's easy. Like talking to your mom. Oh, that's me saying that your mom is easy. Adam says, Derek, you look very much like Perry, the mascot from Periscope. Well, Adam, I'm glad you noticed. I get that a lot. I used to get a lot of people saying that I look like Bob's Big Boy. But more recently, I do get a lot of people saying that I look like Perry, the Periscope mascot. And that's true. Also, Bobby Intern 2 says, my hat is adorable. Thanks, Bobby. I know. Okay, here we go. Keith says, are you familiar with twit.tv? Well, I know a lot of twits. It is an online network of tech-based shows and podcasts. I wish it had a bigger scope because it seems like a similar network of shows would be the type of thing DNR would fit in well with. Well, I don't know if you've seen or heard us recently, but Romaine and I are not exactly what I would call tech people. We're not super tech savvy. So I don't know how well we would fit in that environment, but the internet is filling up with all sorts of networks of all sorts of varieties. So, I mean, it's certainly an interesting place. And the real question will be, will they turn into the next big thing, or will they be a web ring, AOL Hometown, Friendster, pets.com? The internet is littered with the bones of once successful great ideas. So I don't know anything about twit.tv. It may be the next hot thing. And if it's tech-based, I don't know that that's like, it's us, that's for us. But anyway, there you go. All right, let's get to my list of things. And then once I wrap up my list of things, I'll go back to whatever last questions we have. You can post your questions here. And then I'm going to wrap this mother up because we're already halfway through my time. Can you believe it? It only feels like it's been 2 hours. There's a dance break for you. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to talk about is about politics, but I don't really want to talk about politics. But what I do want to talk about, though, is sort of a super nerdy behind the scenes thing about the current political climate. Because a lot of people are probably wondering, why do so many people give a shit about Donald Trump? That's a valid question. Or other things like, why is Bernie Sanders on the rise and that kind of thing. So over the weekend, the Des Moines Register and Bloomberg did a poll. And in the poll, the usual things happened. Bernie Sanders is closing the gap on Hillary Clinton in Iowa. Trump is leading in Iowa, although Ben Carson has moved up into the second spot there. Other people who were supposed to be the front runners are fading, like Scott Walker, Bush. But here's what was the interesting thing about the Des Moines Register poll that you may not know. So they asked a series of questions of both Democrats and Republicans, asking them their opinions about various things. And so, for instance, they asked you their opinion. What do you think of Barack Obama? And now, naturally, Democrats thought he was doing a great job. Republicans thought he was doing a terrible job. Those kinds of things are not a surprise. But what I was looking for were areas of agreement between Democrats and Republicans. And so here were the three things that Democrats and Republicans agreed on. They do not like Wall Street. 62% of Republicans and 64% of Democrats, so virtually identical, are upset about Wall Street. Politicians, 91% of Republicans don't like politicians in general and 82% of Democrats. And then money in politics, 91% of Republicans and 94% of Democrats. So basically, if you're running for president, whether you're Bernie Sanders or you're Donald Trump, the reason that you're getting this groundswell of support is that people don't like politics as usual. They don't like that Wall Street got bailed out and Main Street didn't. And they don't like all the money flowing into politics. So I actually think that things like Jeb Bush raising $114 million is impressive to other sort of money people. But I think that the average voter who's upset about money in politics, which is a vast majority of Republicans, that's going to be a turn off, not a turn on. And part of what they like about Trump is he doesn't need anybody else's money. That is part of his appeal on the right. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. You may not find it interesting. You probably want to hear what I thought about Miley Cyrus's boobs on the VMAs. And I will talk about that now instead, because you're probably more interested in that than my nerdy insider thing about politics. But I watched the VMA Awards, and here's the thing. I'm not 22. I'm 26. But if I were 22, the VMAs would be the perfect thing for me to watch. I watched 2.5 hours of that garbage. It was terrible. And part of me is like, is this just me being an old man? Like, get off my lawn. This sucks. But all the reviews said it was a mess of a show. And I like Miley Cyrus. I like what Miley stands for. I know that she gets a lot of shit because she's half naked and humping weird things and she's pansexual and all those things. But you know what? She's standing for LGBT equality and she's got a big platform to do it and she's way out there about it. So I'm in favor. And I didn't think as a host she was terrible. I thought she was fine. Whatever. The show was a mess though. But Kanye West gave this speech, this rambling, incoherent speech, and he kept almost apologizing to Taylor Swift and then not apologizing to Taylor Swift. Like he walked right up to the line of an apology and then didn't apologize. I don't know what that was about. I'm not a fan of Kanye. There are all sorts of people out there who are. They think he's great. That's great for them. I'm sure he's talented. I don't even know what to make of it. And his speech did not make any sense to me at all. And it went on too long. And then, oh my God, they gave out like 5 awards, right? maybe 6 total in 2.5 hours, like barely any awards. I don't even know why they bother calling it an award show anymore because they didn't even give away any awards. And they had like 6 performers and every performer won an award. You could tell that it was completely rigged and, you know, I don't know. I wasn't a fan, but there were some performances that I was happy to see. That Demi Lovato, her Cool for the Summer song is my second favorite song of the summer, my first being Peanut Butter Jelly. And so I was very happy to see that. She was not super singing live, but it could have been worse. And but it was nice to see her performing. She didn't win shit, but I liked her little performance. But mostly it was just a mess. I mean, like a scary mess. Like I don't know what's happening at MTV that they put that on the air. They must be completely out of ideas. Because it just I didn't even know what to make of it. And that wasn't even the worst thing I saw all weekend, if you can imagine. So Mike wanted to go to the movies and wanted to see Hitman Agent 47. Now, this is a movie based on a video game, which I know is not a winning endorsement. That's not the kind of thing that makes you go, "Ooh, I can't wait." Because normally that's like a warning, like, uh-oh. And then the second thing is that it stars the guy whose name I do not recall, who plays a CIA agent in Homeland, who's in love with Carrie Matheson, but she doesn't know he's alive. And his heart breaks just like a little girl. Anyway, he plays some assassin. And then there's some girl, and the movie didn't make any sense. None whatsoever. I actually think that they should show Agent Hitman 47 in film classes to show people what not to do when making a movie. Like, watch this movie and then critique what they did wrong. Why do you not care about any of the characters? Why are these scenes so lifeless? Where did it all go wrong? I think that would be a film class I would go to see. It'd probably be better than the movie. And then finally, I have started watching this Jim Gaffigan show. I think it's on FX. And I didn't think I was going to love it, but the critics liked it. And I don't know if I like it because it seems very New York. And as a New Yorker, there's lots of sort of inside New York things about it. Some of the episodes are better than others. It's not nearly as, maybe it's on TV Land. Oh, maybe that's what I was worried about because it was TV Land. And I thought, this is going to be too clean. And it's actually not that clean. I thought it was going to be too clean and churchy and everything. But actually, I like it fine. So there you go. I like that. Now let's go to our questions in the last few moments, and then I'm out of here. How about that? Okay, first up, Deborah's question. Deborah says, do you prefer video format or audio only format? I prefer audio. I liked doing a live radio show because you didn't have to worry about editing. You didn't have to worry about censoring yourself. You start at the beginning and you run straight through. And so I like that. When I do the podcast, especially at the beginning, I fretted over everything and I had to edit it and go back and it took forever. I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with it and it's faster now to do it, but that was hard to get used to. And then video, Mike and I were talking about this when we were shopping over the weekend. And honestly, if YouTube had been around when I was 16, I would have been one of these YouTube kids running around with 2 million followers, guaranteed. Totally, that would have been me. When I was a teenager, my mother actually said to me, no one's going to ever discover you in the living room, which, I keep reminding her, thanks to Periscope and YouTube, the whole internet, now people can be discovered in their living room, or in my case, my rap room. And so that has changed the dynamic of everything. But as you get older, you're not as excited about seeing yourself in video as you might have been when you were 16. And so I just wish that this had all happened when I was a teenager instead of, what age did I say earlier? 26? 26. Thank you, Deborah. Or is it Deborah? I don't want to get it wrong. Okay, Keith says, sorry, I meant it was a non-tech network that worked like twit.tv. That would be nice. They have live shows that can be watched online or on an app, and then all the shows become podcasts. They're supported by live reads during the show. All right. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different networks that are out and about that are like that. And most of them are in search of a business model, which is why they do that kind of thing and why they aggregate in bunches, because then they can get the largest numbers possible and turn it into something. It's tough. The real money is still in traditional channels, TV, broadcast TV, where all the money is. Oh my God, there's so much money in broadcast TV. And then everybody else is getting crumbs off of broadcast. And it's the same thing in media. The New York Times is way up here, and then everybody else is dining off their bones. Just how it goes. Frank says, Mr. D, are you watching the new series of Vicious and or Sherlock episodes on PBS? Don't forget to water your plant. Well, the plant is fine. I watered it just 2 days ago. The outside looks terrible, but the plant's inside. They get plenty of water. They're fine. Thank you for asking. And I am watching Vicious. I like it very much. I just watched a few minutes ago Sunday's episode where they go to the gym and there's like a hot gay personal trainer who's at the gym. And he was real hot. I was hoping that he and Ash would have some kind of duel where they had to take their shirts off, but that didn't happen. I'm going to write a strongly worded tweet to Gary Janetti about that as an idea for the third season. I'm not watching Sherlock, but I am looking forward to Downton Abbey. And people are getting all weepy and everything about it being the last season of Downton. And I probably will get weepy when I watch it, but the trailer did not make me weepy. It actually didn't look very good. And I really love Downton. I'm a hardcore Downton Abbey fan. But I was like, this just looks okay. So maybe it is time to go. Maybe. But we'll see. I'll still cry. You know me, I cry at everything. Okay. Deborah says, Deborah has lots of questions. They have announced some of the stars for the new season of Dancing with the Stars, and one is a 15-year-old social media sensation who has lots of followers and Twitter on Vine. Yeah, that's good for them because they need younger people on that show, because it can't just be, oh my God, are they going to break a hip? Because there's a fair amount of that happens on that show. Deborah also says, it's fun on Google Chat to see your and Romaine's facial reactions to each other, and seeing your reactions on Periscope too adds a whole new perspective. Well, I agree. The video is nice because it does give you an added perspective that you wouldn't get otherwise. And most people don't care about how hot we are or not hot we are. Although, you know, if we wanted 10 million people to watch our videos, it would be really helpful if we were 15 and had a crazy hot, like, Olympic diver body. Let me work on that, the being 15 part. Anne says, see any good movies over the weekend? Well, as I mentioned before, no. I saw that Hitman Agent 47 movie and it was horrid. But now that Mike has gone back to Chicago, I am going to go and see Straight Outta Compton. He thought it looked boring. It got great reviews. It's made lots of money. I'm excited to go and see it. So I'm going to go see Straight Outta Compton some night. Me alone in the theater with a bucket of popcorn. As it was, we thought we'd be alone seeing Hitman Agent 47. And then there were like all these like rowdy 20-something guys in the theater. And it's like, what are you doing here? This movie's making no money. No one is seeing this piece of shit. And then here you are. Well, this has been fun, gang. Thanks so much for dropping by. I'm glad that the Monday Mail Hag could return for your viewing pleasure. Wes says, what do you think the Kentucky clerk will do tomorrow? Well, bitch is out of options. So she's either going to quit her job or she's going to go to prison for contempt of court, or she's going to do her fucking job. And by the way, let me just say this. I saw an internet meme. I do not know it's 100% true, but a meme said that she's been married 4 times. And if that is the case, she has no business having some kind of moral objection to gay people getting married, because she doesn't seem to have any problem being a divorced person. So the sanctity of marriage is not happening with her. Adam says, no one is seeing the Zac Efron movie. You know, I think Zac Efron is hot as fuck. Would have sex with him today, tomorrow, right now, here on YouTube. But I do not believe he is a movie star. I mean, I know that Neighbors movie made money, but that wasn't really a Zac Efron movie. Like, he was the reason that it made money, because he made that Awkward Moment movie, and that didn't make shit. may not be a movie star. It might be time for Zac Efron to consider doing some kind of romantic comedy series on NBC next fall, because I don't think the movie thing is happening. John says, Zac Efron, is that a person or a place? Did I see you at Zac Efron? Now I'm covered either way. That was one of my favorite bits from the first season of Vicious. If you're not watching Vicious on PBS, it's a very funny show. You should get into it. Sir Ian McKellen and Derek Jacobi star in it. There's a hot piece who sometimes takes his shirt off. It's great fun. Although the daffy old broad Penelope is my favorite character on that show. Everything that she says, every line reading, solid gold. Penelope's my favorite. All right, thanks everybody. I'm out of time. It's been 30 minutes. My pizza's ready. There is no pizza. But thanks for coming. Be sure to listen to our podcast, DerekandRomaine.com. Click on the listen button at the top, and all the details of how you can listen are right there. It's in iTunes. You can subscribe in iTunes. And by the way, you should like this video. You should like us on iTunes. You should like us on Facebook and Twitter, all those places. Because in this day and age, if things don't get liked, people disappear into the ether. So unless you want us to disappear, like our shit, bitches, even if you don't really like it. I don't care. You can post, ooh, this sucks. Doesn't matter. It still gets seen. So like it, don't like it, post your comment so it can be seen by everybody. That's all I care about. Bye, bitches.